Okay, hello choir. This is the last ed puzzle of trimester 1, and I thought we'd go out with something a little more fun to listen to. This will not be a demonstration video by me because most of the things you're about to hear are not things that I could physically produce in the same way. We're going to talk about voice types and some of the stranger ones. So generally when we talk about choir, we talk about a bass, a tenor, somewhere in the middle that's kind of a baritone, someone who can kind of fulfill both roles to some extent, but maybe not hit the same ranges. We talk about an alto and a soprano, and then generally a mezzo-soprano or a soprano too sort of fits in that middle. These are going to be some of the weirder ones that you can see. But before we get into that, first thing I want to talk about is your vocal folds. So your vocal folds are these two different pieces of tissue that when they open and close at a certain speed, they actually produce the pitches that you sing. Now, the cool thing about vocal folds is everyone has a different set. There's not a certain set. Generally, it does run with biology. So, for instance, with a soprano and an alto, generally a female biology, your vocal folds are going to be thicker on the bottom and thinner on the top. But with that, yours will be thinner in general than a tenor and a bass. Thicker vocal cords produce lower pitches. So like a soprano alto will have thinner vocal cords all the way around than a tenor bass, which is why they can hit lower pitches. So a bass is going to have super thick vocal cords. I, being a tenor, will have thinner one, more of a baritone, but a tenor will have thinner ones than a true bass, and mine will be thicker than a soprano. That's why I can hit the pitches that I can. But we use different parts of the vocal folds to create different pitches. So, for instance, when I'm singing with the sopranos, my entire vocal fold isn't closing because I'm using my falsetto. So I'm not actually using this bottom part of my vocal fold where it's thicker. I'm just using the thinner part. So I'm going, and it's closing at the correct speed for the pitches. So let's look at some people who break all rules when it comes to vocal folds. So, we all have different ones that fit sort of within our biology. So most of my soprano altos have that style of vocal cords, but none of the people that you're about to see have either traditional vocal folds or they can access more than normal. So the first one I'll talk about is a countertenor. So let me get over to that. A countertenor is essentially a biological male that has vocal cords that more closely resemble a female. So they can sing in a soprano alto range as if it's their normal range. So where, for instance, if I'm singing with the soprano altos, I have to use my falsetto and really use a false voice to get up there. This singer you're about to hear sings the national anthem in their normal voice. So this is comfortable range for them. They're a countertenor. So it's a completely different sound. So this is John Holiday. And we're going to listen to him do the national anthem. So I'm interested to know what you think after hearing it.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright
So that was John Holiday, a countertenor. So biological male with essentially a soprano alto set of vocal folds. So I'm curious what you think about a countertenor. So give me your thoughts. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so that was a countertenor. Next, we're going to delve into a contralto. So if a countertenor is that the tenor voice being moved up, a contralto is the alto voice being moved down. So this is an alto that's able to essentially speak and sing in the same range that I do. So this is a bit crazy. It's kind of even cooler because this is, I think this is the voice in, I believe, Russia, but don't quote me on that. It's cool because they can't obviously see who's singing, so it really does emphasize that as much as we could look at someone and maybe think we know what their voice would sound like range-wise, we can break the mold pretty often. So listen to a little bit of this contralto. I might skip around a tiny bit.
No more lying friends, wanton tragic ends. No, they do pretend, and they won't go, and I go. All those bleeding hearts with sorrows to impose, right here from the start, and they won't go, and I go.
This opening definitely sounds like an alto, but this section right here, you really hear the contralto come in.
So long
Away. That is a bass. Way. So that is a low. That is a C within the bass clef that she is singing as a female singer. So just to give you an idea of what a contralto can do, a contralto can sing in this range, which for me is getting to the point where it's low for me. So that contralto is essentially a female singer with male vocal cords and access to those thicker chords. So I'm assuming her speaking voice would be lower too. So it really does emphasize that although we may feel like we can box people in based on what they may look like, what their immutable characteristics are, like their biology, you really can see how different singers, depending on the way their actual vocal cords are shaped, can access different sounds. So that is a contralto. The next thing we're going to look at is two different singers, because I couldn't really find a great way to show this without just showing you a compilation of people singing really low. But these are called basso profundos. So a bass is a basso in Italian. A basso profundo is a bass with an exceptionally low range. So there are a few different things of that. The first I'll show you is actually, it's called an octavist. So octaves are octavism is singing incredibly low, trying to hit really low octaves of notes. And so I'll show you just a little clip of what those singers sound like, and then I'll show you Avi Kaplan, who's the bass for pentatonics. So this is an octavist trying to attempt to hit a really low B flat. So not this guy. Next one. This one. Then he tries to sing lower in a second. And he can just barely hit even that lower note. So they're singing way down here, but not here. That's right here. They're singing down there. So a full. So I may be able to hit here, but I can't. it just comes out of like a gargle, right? So that's what an octavist is. That's a basso profundo. They can hit really low ranges. Avi Copland is a good representation of that too. So we'll listen to a little bit of that.
Same misty mountains.
You can hear it in his voice too. Skip a little bit here.
The bar. Don't start singing.
Okay.
And he goes, far over the misty mountains go, to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away ere break of day, to find our long forgotten gold. Oh man, what a song!
So that is a basso. Those are two examples of a basso profundo. So their vocal cords are thicker than the average human being, and that's what allows them to access those pitches. So when they're singing, they're using the full brunt of their vocal folds to make that sound. Finally, I apologize. Sopranos don't actually have a fancy, secondary name for a singer, but sopranos have access to what's called whistle tone. If you want to look up Ariana Grande or Tori Kelly, they all do. They have whistle tone. This is a good idea of kind of normally with whistle tone, it's something fun they add to the end of a song, like a pop song. This is a good idea of what an actual whistle tone sounds like when it's held out longer. This is another voice audition. I'm not sure what country it's from, so the song is a little bit more traditional, but it's really cool when she gets going. So we'll start it up so you can hear it. So just so you can hear what a normal voice sounds like. Okay, so you can hear a normal voice. Now I'll show you some of that whistle tone. This is what a whistle tone sounds like. So what's really cool about that is you can actually hear her transfer from what her whistle tone. The whistle tone is super. It's light. If done correctly, it's not airy, but it tends to sound a little bit airy, and it almost has like a bird-like quality. And what you'll notice is she actually switches back when she crescendos. She switches back into her normal voice, and it's a really cool transition. So we'll see if we can listen to that one more time. Right here. So you can hear her transfer back into her normal voice, which is pretty cool. So I'm curious what you think about the whistle tone for a soprano. Okay, that's all I had today. I just think it was kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see the ways that people break the mold as far as what traditional singers do. So again, we had a countertenor, which is basically a male soprano, for lack of a better word. It's a male that has more female vocal cords as far as their thinness. A contralto, which is the opposite way, where it's a female that has male biology as far as their vocal cords. A basso profundo, which is a really low bass. They have exceptionally low range, and then a whistle tone for a soprano. So I hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.